there's a statement, alcohol is a leading preventable cause of death, disability, injuries, accidents, and social problems. Do you believe that, Minister, to be true?
I think that alcohol is a substance that unfortunately is used by too many across this country without an understanding of what the health impacts of it are. We continue to do that work in prevention and education through the Public Health Agency
Minister,
of Canada.
I'm not asking you some trap question here. That's from the Canadian Guidance on Alcohol and Health, the final report. It's a simple question. Do you believe that alcohol is a leading preventable cause of death, disability, injuries, accidents, and social problems?
I believe that abuse of alcohol consumption can be detrimental to one's health.
Wow. Okay, I can see the game you want to play today, which is very sad on behalf of Canadians, Minister. You know, the other thing that's incredibly sad is that your government put forward a temporary tax trick on Canadians, which included removing temporarily for 2 months the GST on beer, wine, and ready-to-drink alcoholic drinks. How did that make you feel, Minister, when that came across your desk?
The GST tax break for Canadians was meant to address and does address affordability concerns that many Canadians across the country have shared with us. And in responding to that and listening to Canadians, particularly during the holiday season, we wanted to ensure that they were able to have a break during this time in the holiday season when they're gathering to celebrate.
But Minister, your government is promoting, by reducing the price, consumption of alcohol. Is that not true?
The GST tax break is for Canadians to make the choice of what goods they wish to purchase to enhance their holiday season.
I guess what I would say to you, though, Minister, the member from Canada Carleton made an interesting video quite clearly encouraging Canadians to drink alcohol, showcasing a bottle of wine. Is that not true?
I do believe the leader of the opposition has been in multiple videos grabbing a beer with folks and promoting it as well. So
Minister,
I'm not really sure what the point
Minister,
of your question is,
one of the most effective
Chair.
ways we have to help Canadians, is it not true that, again, well, why didn't you include cigarettes in that? Why did you not reduce the taxes on them? Why would you, as a member who represents mental health and addictions in the failing government, think that that's a good idea on behalf of Canadians to reduce the GST on beer, wine, and ready-to-drink alcoholic drinks? Explain that to Canadians. It's a simple question.
Through you, Chair, I believe I've answered the question with regards to the GST tax break for Canadians in addressing needs of affordability. Our Office of the Mental Health and Addictions, as well as Associate Minister of Health, is to ensure that we provide resources for prevention and so that Canadians can make healthy choices no matter what they eat or consume.
But Minister,
and this is the work that we do at the federal government.
If I might, did your department have any input into this policy? Did you know this was going to happen, or did they do it behind your back?
The GST tax holiday for Canadians is to address affordability.
That's not what I asked you. I said, did your department, mental health and addictions, have any input into the temporary tax trick, or did they do it behind your back?
As the member well knows, cabinet confidence is that, and the decision was to provide a tax holiday to Canadians.
So clearly, on behalf of Canadians, you would like to see them drinking more alcohol. That being said, Minister, what about the other parts of the temporary tax trick? We know that Canadians are having difficulty affording food. Your government supported a private member's bill, C-252, that actually wanted to reduce advertising to kids, and now you're out there saying that children, it's okay because we've reduced the taxes on it. You should eat chips and candy and coated popcorn and curls and twists, etc. Is that something, again, inside your portfolio that you agree with, Minister? Yes or no? It's not a difficult question.
So through you, Chair, it seems now that Conservatives seem to think that the tax is perhaps good, or that we should be evaluating this as public policy and how it relates to the price on pollution. I'm not really sure where Conservatives stand on ensuring affordable. Chair, I do believe
Minister,
that I have the floor.
I'm just going to interrupt you there.
I do believe I have the floor,
I think the big thing is, Chair, is that...
Minister, there's about 10 seconds left in this round, so make your point.
I guess the question is, Minister, is why would you, as the Minister for Mental Health Addictions, support encouraging Canadians with unhealthy behavior? Sadly, Minister, that's your job. Sadly, it appears you don't know that.
Take 15 seconds to respond, Minister, please.
Sadly, Conservatives don't seem to believe that Canadians should have a tax break. So again, outrage is big but weak on action. Thank you, Chair.
Minister, why is there no funding for a national suicide prevention strategy in the fall economic update?
The National Suicide Framework was launched in May and the work is ongoing.
Minister, I just asked a question. Why is there no funding mentioned for a national suicide prevention strategy in the fall economic update? There's no funding.
As I mentioned, there is resources and work that is being done that is ongoing.
Minister, do you have a mandate letter?
Yes,
Has it been published?
it is the same mandate letter I've had since entering my office and position in 2023.
So can you state for us what your priorities are?
Chair, I do believe that my mandate letter is public and that he can reference it there. If he wishes to have it tabled to the committee, we can do that.
Minister, is part of your mandate letter to establish a permanent ongoing mental health transfer?
Again, Chair, I'm here to answer questions on the supplemental B estimates. If that is a relevant question, I'm happy to answer it.
Minister, is also part of your mandate letter to sustain improved access to virtual mental health services with Wellness Together Canada?
Wellness Together was a program that was established during COVID to meet the needs of Canadians.
But is that part of
during
your
the
mandate
crisis.
letter?
Again, Chair, is this relevant to the supplemental B estimates?
You tie the question to the estimates, Mr. Doherty, please.
Well, it all deals with spending of the government, Mr. Speaker, and if they're not mentioned in the fall economic statement, I believe it's something that the minister should report on.
It's fair game for Mr. Doherty to ask you why something isn't in the SUPs and get you to respond to that. So if you can answer the question, please do.
So thank you. And through you, Chair, what I will say is that my office is responsible to continue to respond to the needs of Canadians when it comes to mental health services. And the commitments that we made in Budget 2024, including the Youth Mental Health Fund and the Emergency Treatment Fund, are the priorities that in this budget cycle that we are placing emphasis on. That doesn't mean that we abandon other parts of the service system.
But if it's
However,
not, but Minister,
Chair, I'm answering the question if the member would
believe she's
allow
over
me to
time.
finish.
Mr. Doherty.
Yeah.
Yep. Go ahead, Mr. Doherty.
Minister, your government promised a $4.5 billion annual Canadian mental health transfer during the 2021 election. Was that promise abandoned?
The funding flow from that commitment has continued until its completion, but what we understood was that working with jurisdictions and understanding their needs in mental health meant that we had a renewed strategy through the bilateral agreements through a mental health priority.
Minister, you've referenced a couple times as a mother meeting people where they are. This is a final question. It's probably the last time I get a chance to ask you any questions in 2024, perhaps maybe even, who knows, in this government. I mean, only the future time will tell. This has bothered me for some time, and I want to give you an opportunity here. Do you regret shaking hands with Mahmoud Abbas?
Point of order, Chair.
Yes, Ms.
That's fair game.
Kayabaga.
Point of order, Chair.
Yes, Ms. Kayabaga.
That's inappropriate as a question, and it does not match with what we're studying today.
Point of
I do
order.
agree unless you can find a way
Point of order.
Point of order. Point of order.
Unless you can find a way to tie that to the estimates. Go ahead, Mr. Johns. Yes, on a point of order.
That's where I was going to go. This has absolutely nothing to do with the estimates. It's just completely out of line.
Point of order.
Ms.
On this
Goodrich,
point
on
of
a
order.
point of order.
I believe that the minister was actually there on official government business, and therefore it is relevant to the spending of the government. And so I believe if you let Mr. Doherty continue, you will understand how this is relevant.
Point of order,
Let
Chair.
Mr. Doherty continue if he wants to ask a question that is tied to the estimates.
Yes.
Minister,
So
Chair-
far, I don't
Chair-
think it is, but
Chair, if you will allow, the minister has referenced time and again being a mother, and has made comments about Conservatives not being, if you allow, on the trip when they know that I was the member that was supposed to be on that trip, but I was at my mother's deathbed and supporting her
Point of
through
order, Chair.
her end of life.
yes, Ms. Kayabaga?
No, you
And-
can't point of order.
Point of order,
So,
Chair.
and so finally,
No, he's apparently asking a question.
I'm
So
You
finally-
and Ms.
Chair.
Kayabaga has a point of
Thank
order.
you,
I
Chair.
recognize Ms. Kayabaga.
Point of order. No, this is.
Ms.
Chair,
Kayabaga, go ahead, please.
I have the floor. Thank you. Chair, I don't understand where his question is going. He's talking about his personal mother. He's talking about a trip. He's talking about shaking hands with people. This has nothing to do with the estimates. Either we stick to the estimates or we
Chair.
call it a day.
Okay, I want to hear Mr. Doherty's question. The question that he has asked about shaking of hands, I think there was a valid point of order raised. I asked him to tie it to the estimates. I think he's trying to do that. Mr. Doherty, please.
so the point is, Mr. Chair, is that the minister has sat here for the last 45 minutes. She's made a number of assertions against the Conservative government without knowing any background or perhaps not caring about the background. And so I think it is relevant when we have a minister of the Crown that is traveling on taxpayers' funds and somebody that is a proud Jewish member of the cabinet whose daughter she introduced, who served. And so she has also referenced that throughout her testimony that she's a mother. And she's brought that into her testimony. And so through you, Mr. Chair, I will ask her. I can't imagine that was a proud moment or an easy moment.
Point of order,
Okay,
Chair.
Mr. Doherty, the question is out of order and you are out of time. I recognize Dr. Hanley, please, for
you
the
wanna
next
give her a
5
chance?
minutes.
Chair, I called a point of
No,
order.
your question's out of order and you are out of time.
Chair, I
Dr.
did
Hanley,
call a
please.
point of order.
You have a point of order,
I
Ms.
did have a
Kayabaga,
point
go
of
ahead.
order. I called a point of order on the outrageous comment our colleague just made and borderline offensive to our minister, and I hope that he can apologize.